Hello there and a very good Friday morning to all our viewers out there. This is the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. Well, today it's the deadline to submit nominations for the Parliamentary elections 2024. For the second time this year, Sri Lankans will be heading to polls to elect their public representatives. Now, first, it was the 21st of September when Sri Lankans head to the polls to elect their president, who was then elected as Anura Kumara Dissanayake. Now, a few days after he was sworn in, he decided to dissolve Parliament and call for snap elections. And thus, on the 14th of November, Sri Lankans will head to polls once again, and this time to elect their public representatives to the House of Legislature. The deadline for submitting nominations for the 2024 parliamentary election will close at 12 noon today. Now, this was confirmed by the chairman of the Election Commission, RMAL Ratnayake, once again. Now, he stated that the process will be conducted throughout district secretariats. Ratnayake also mentioned that the deadline for independent groups to submit their deposits to contest the parliamentary election will also end at noon today. Additionally, political parties representing the contesting the general election must also submit their national list nominations as well. That's also due in the course of the day before 12 noon. The Election Commission is now urging candidates to conduct their election campaigns in compliance with election laws and to maintain fairness throughout the process. As of now, a total of 241 recognized political parties and independent groups have submitted their nominations for the parliamentary election. At the same time, the number of independent groups that have placed their security deposits with the Election Commission stands at a massive 349. At the same time, Sri Lanka Police has announced that special traffic and security measures will be in place from this morning around district secretariats where the nomination process will take place. Now, as I said, today is the final day to submit nominations to contest the parliamentary election. DIG and police spokesperson Attorney at Law Nihal Taldua, speaking to Newsfirst, said that processions will be prohibited after the submission of nominations for the parliamentary election. Now, at the same time, one of the key developments that we are following here at Newsfirst is the weather situation in Sri Lanka. Now, landslide warnings have been issued to multiple localities in several provinces due to the heavy rainfall that have been experienced. Now, the Met Department is saying that the prevailing showery weather condition is expected to continue further into the southwestern part of the island due to the atmospheric disturbance in the vicinity of the country. Now, on your screens you can see a radar image of the precipitation levels in Sri Lanka and the surrounding regions, especially in the Sea of Sri Lanka. The Met Department also says that showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern, northwestern and central provinces. It added that very heavy showers of over 150 millimeters of rain are likely at some places in the western and the Sabaragamuwa provinces and in the Galle and Matra districts. At the same time, showers or thunder showers will occur elsewhere at several places in the island during the evening and at night. At the same time, fairly heavy showers of around 75 millimeters of rain can also be expected at some places across the island. Now, speaking of wind speeds, the wind speed could be around 40 to 50 kilometers per hour in the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern, northwestern and central provinces. Now, given the intensity of these wind speeds, it is advised to take necessary precautions as well. At the same time, the Met Department is also urging the population to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by lightning strikes. Now, as usual, we always emphasize that the best way to prevent lightning strikes is do not step onto open outdoor areas and also unplug those electrical appliances during lightning activity and heavy rainfall. The World Bank is saying that Sri Lanka's economy has stabilized, with growth expected to reach 4.4% in 2024, surpassing their earlier forecast. Now, this positive outlook follows 4 consecutive quarters of growth driven by the industrial and tourism sectors and supported by critical structural and policy reforms. Now, last afternoon, the World Bank held a press conference in Colombo. Now, this was for the World Bank's biannual Sri Lanka Development Update, titled Opening Up to the Future. Now, this update cautions that recovery remains fragile and hinges on maintaining macroeconomic stability in the country and successfully restructuring the debt, and also continuing structural reforms to increase medium-term growth and to reduce poverty. Now, Georg Sagazian, the country manager of the World Bank and the IFC, had this to say during the press briefing.
There is a good news. The good news is that after very painful economic crisis, the stabilization has happened, and has happened at the pace and faster than most experts expected. In a way, South Asia seemingly surprising everyone with faster growth or recovery. So the stabilization of Sri Lanka in that sense also was consistent with the surprise. So this is the good news. Not so good news is that the country is not yet out of the woods. The pain that is experienced by Sri Lankans, and I mean, you know this better than anyone else, is huge. The country is still having a poverty rate of about 25%. Basically, every 4th Sri Lankan is poor. There are millions of Sri Lankans who are a shock away from poverty as well. And poverty is just one example, right? The other is the human development, health, education, social protection. They all have got hit by the crisis, and this is the reality that we're facing. And then again, we spoke about workforce participation, women participation, and this is a big challenge as well for Sri Lanka. We have seen also out migration, brain drain, and female participation as well has been falling in Sri Lanka. So there is relatively narrow pathway forward, and unfortunately there is no any magic, silver bullet out there. It is going to be a hard work and consistent approach to policies.
Well, if you are hands-on on social media, especially with regard to what's happening in Sri Lanka, you might have come across some strong controversies surrounding government officials attending certain events and certain memorabilia also being presented. And now the President's office has issued a new directive following these incidents. Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumanayaka, has directed all government institutions to obtain written approval from the Presidential Secretariat prior to displaying the President's photographs or messages on commemorative plaques or in designated celebration areas for various events. Furthermore, the Secretary has emphasized the importance of ensuring that government-funded activities align with the state policies and vision during their organization. Now, this notice has been officially communicated in writing to all ministry secretaries, provincial chief secretaries, department heads, chairpersons of government corporations, statutory board heads, and heads of government-owned companies. In recent years, Newsfirst has been in the forefront of exposing various forms of illegal migration and slavery. And one incident is the cyber slave camps that are operating in the Myawaddy region in Myanmar, where scores of Sri Lankans were duped into lucrative IT jobs in Thailand and then smuggled across the border to work as cyber slaves, conning unsuspecting individuals from various parts of the world. And now these Sri Lankans reached out to Newsfirst, and they even sent us some images of the brutality that they had to undergo during that process. And even some of them said that they had to work for 18 long hours standing, not even being allowed to take a seat. And if they failed to meet the quota of conning individuals, they are tortured via electrocution and other brutal methods. Now, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya has requested the Thai government's assistance in rescuing Sri Lankans still detained in cybercrime camps in the Mewadi region in Myanmar. Now, this request was made during a meeting with the Thai ambassador Paitun Mahapannapon at the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister has expressed her gratitude for Thailand's support in rescuing 28 Sri Lankans from these cyber criminal camps. However, she noted that 40 more Sri Lankans remain detained and called for continued cooperation to secure their release. At the same time, the discussions at the Prime Minister's office also focused on strengthening bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and Thailand, developing the tourism industry, utilizing modern agricultural technology, and enhancing collaboration in research fields such as post-harvest technology and food processing, involving the agricultural faculties of the University of Ruhuna and the Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Now, a very top US military official visited Sri Lanka last morning. This official is the commander of the US Pacific Fleet, and he is a 4-star Navy Admiral, Admiral Steve Kohler. Now, US Navy Admiral Steve Kohler, the commander of the US Pacific Fleet, officially handed over a Beechcraft King Air 360ER gifted by the United States to the Sri Lanka Air Force. Admiral Kohler affirmed US commitment to regional security and partnership with Sri Lanka. Now, this event was attended by US Ambassador Jolie Chung, Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakonta, and Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force, Air Marshal Udeni Rajapaksa, and marked the handover of this advanced aircraft, a symbol of the enduring US-Sri Lanka partnership and a crucial step in strengthening Sri Lanka's maritime security and sovereignty. Equipped with the cutting-edge surveillance technology, the King Air will strengthen Sri Lanka's ability to patrol its waters, counter maritime threats, and secure vital trade routes in the Indian Ocean. The King Air, funded by the US Department of Defense's Building Partner Capacity Program, was manufactured by Beechcraft Textron Aviation and completed in 2022, with maritime surveillance upgrades added in 2024. Sri Lanka Air Force personnel received specialized training in Kansas and Florida to operate the aircraft, and further training will be conducted by the US government personnel over the next 3 months. The King Air 360ER will undergo final preparations at the Ratmalana Air Force Base before joining Maritime Patrol Squadron 3 at China Bay, Trincomalee. At the same time, Admiral Kohler also called on Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake last afternoon, along with US Ambassador Jolie Chung. Sticking with aviation, Sri Lankan Airlines issued a notice last evening. Sri Lankan Airlines said that flight UL 265 from Colombo to Riyadh safely returned back to Colombo as a precautionary measure after encountering a technical issue mid-flight on Thursday. The aircraft landed without incident at approximately 7 p.m. Sri Lankan time, and all passengers have been provided with hotel accommodation and rebooked for the next available flight. Sri Lankan Airlines said the safety and well-being of the passengers remain their highest priority and appreciate their understanding and cooperation. Now, one of the top cops in recent years and famous for leading some high-profile cases was Shani Abesekera. He was considered as one of the finest detectives in Sri Lankan history. Now, retired SSP Shani Abesekera has been reinstated in the police service on a contract basis with the approval of the National Police Commission. Police spokesperson DIG Nihal Taldua announced that Abesekera will serve for a period of 1 year. Previously, Shani Abesekera was the head or the director of the Criminal Investigations Department. Now, he is known for leading investigations into multiple high-profile criminal cases in the country. At the same time, Sri Lanka's acting Inspector General of Police has introduced a new hotline to report the misuse or theft of government vehicles or property. Priyantha Surya announced that the public can report such incidents by calling the hotline 1997. Once again, that hotline is 1997. He also stated that individuals providing accurate information will be rewarded with monetary incentives. Now, this initiative aims to enhance accountability and ensure the proper use of government property. Sri Lanka Customs made a very important bust yesterday. An illegal shipment of ready-made garments valued at approximately 30 million rupees was seized. Customs spokesperson Sivali Arugada reported that the discovery was made during an inspection of a suspicious cargo container in the Urugadawatta yard. He revealed that 18 similar containers had previously been illegally imported from China, resulting in a revenue loss of 250 million rupees to the government. 2 suspects have already been arrested. They were produced in court and have been remanded until the 22nd of October. Well, that's a wrap of the breakfast rundown for this week. I'll see you again on Monday, same time, same place. Until then, take care and God bless.